Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I Man here from the Block Runner and MetaZone and Rovi.ai. And finally, we get back at the beginning or at the middle of like disparity.
Is this our first? Yeah, dude, this is our first recording because I was here last time during one of our live calls. But yeah, this is our first, I guess, pre-recorded event, dude, in a hot minute, dude. And
yeah, it's been a little while. So
what timing?
Yeah, I guess we decided to come back at the peak despair moments.
Yeah, I feel like we were put on Earth to be like right in this position, dude. Like whenever the sky seems to be falling, I don't know. It just
it's like we come back.
Yeah,
it's like we come out of the darkness.
I guess, dude. I don't know, man. Because we've been through this before.
We started the podcast in peak bear moments,
like in deep in the depression phase, and then I don't know what's on the screen right now, but we're going to pull up this whole market psychology thing.
Yeah,
that is pretty, I think, ubiquitous at this point. Everybody probably has this as like their screensaver.
Yeah,
like if you're like an active trader, just because if you understand the psychology of markets, like you have a supreme advantage over most participants.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But yeah, like we started this whole crypto endeavor. Probably during the peak depression phases, and we're trying to like scratch our heads and figure out, dude, what is going to re-galvanize these markets and get us out of this trench.
Yep, we started right here, so let's say February 2018.
I think it says 19 down there. 2019.
Yeah, 2019. Yeah, sorry. So around February 2019, that's when we started the podcast, and so we I guess we were discussing on, what's going to bring back the markets, what's going to like keep this train moving.
Mm-hmm.
And since that time, we had Tesla, we had Michael Saylor, all like bullish in, Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And so they've been accumulating like around here, like in this range.
Yep. And there's also like, some actual interesting things occurring at the same time. Like DeFi was popping off.
Right.
Everybody was tokenizing their DeFi protocols, which for the first phases of the DeFi's movement, they weren't doing such. But yeah, we started to notice more and more tokens are coming online. People are speculating again, right? That's how markets kind of like come to life.
Right.
Once speculation is like new and fresh,
right?
People find new vehicles to kind of like dump their money into. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so they were buying in, and I think that's what kind of started like this whole kind of euphoria phase.
Yeah.
And a lot of us, including myself, were predicting like $100,000 Bitcoin.
Plus, some of the most notable like predictors of things in the space, right? Like, so they were all coming up with their nice fancy charts. This is our version of a meme chart, predictive chart. And we made these meme curves way back, right? Probably like a year ago or so.
Yeah.
These are This was our shot in the dark attempt at attempting to predict something positive for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But damn, were we wrong on all fronts? Maybe that third one has like a shot.
It has a shot.
Potentiality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah.
But I wouldn't count on it. Like
no?
these are all like straight like predictions.
Well, we drew them from like the previous cycles. That's the thing. Like this cycle is playing out nothing like the previous one. So
that's true. I mean, I think we can even take this line and move it down here, and it'll match like perfect.
Yeah, like we were doing weird stuff like this. Like that probably means absolutely nothing.
Yeah. So
clearly we're not like some chart gods over here, dude. Like we're busy people. You know what I mean? Like we do keep our eyes on the markets, and we part of what this channel does is like we like to stay informed on like what the next big things are, right? Because that usually that gives you like a good handle on like the whole sector, the industry, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when it comes to like timing the market, like dude, there's just so many like external forces in that equation. No way.
You know what? Like real life has extreme high resolution. When you're like on these like actual days, like when Bitcoin's at 69,000, you're not thinking, hey, this is a good time to sell because of all these like predictions and exterior influences.
Exactly.
And so it's definitely not easy. And so we're here to kind of understand that everybody's feeling like that despair moment at the moment, and it's okay. Like that's why we have the metaverse. We have stuff to do like during these phases.
It's true. definitely how we're gonna cope with all this, and like
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
inject hopium to our own community. If you guys are watching and stuff, you guys already know. We talk about this every week, dude. It's like no matter what the markets are showcasing, and like people are panicking, so we're still gonna continue on our journeys because we know like this is only temporary, right? This is just short term. Like markets don't stay down forever, but in this circumstance, this is definitely
could be unique.
This is a very unique scenario.
Yeah.
In context of Bitcoin's whole life cycle, is what I mean.
Yeah, because Bitcoin hasn't experienced a recession.
No, it has not.
It was born from a recession.
According to the white paper, yeah. I guess like a recession happened. There was like a complete financial collapse in the system. And like, whoever was the originator of the concept was like, you know what, dude? It's like, we need to take a stab at some sort of alternate, monetary system or model that's like independent of, the traditional global capitalists, I guess.
Yeah, our inflation rate is at an all-time. Well, really, I wouldn't say all-time high, but the last time it was this high was like in the 80s. And so at 8%, almost 9%, that's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, and this was all to be expected, right? From like the last couple of years trying to recover from COVID. It's just that infinite printer machine activities,
Yeah, let's see if we can find COVID. This is the COVID hit right here.
Yeah.
So it went from, what is that, 10,000 to 4,000.
Yeah, so there's a reason why like the market like inverse so passionately at these moments, right? It's not natural or organic. This is completely like orchestrated by entities. You and I have no say or direction. It's not even like minimally federally regulated. There's no constitutional authority apparently. Just like there's not much voter input into whether or not we should do these types of things. But yeah, there's a monetary control mechanism that only a select few people have like total control over, right? So
yeah, Federal Reserve, namely.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
and there's like a conglomerate of
Yeah, and you talk about this all the time. The Federal Reserve has some buttons that they can press. They've pressed all of the buttons already.
Yeah, and they've publicly said that. I mean, I haven't really like totally kept up with it, but I mean, they have these quarterly meetings, I think, or maybe even monthly, where they come out and make these statements and say, inflation's a clear problem now. The whole quantitative easing thing has gone beyond its
reasonable effectiveness.
Yeah, well, yeah, its capacities. Rates are going up. So yeah, like there's just a lot of good ingredients, like for the market to pick up on a lot of like future bearish outcomes. You know what I mean? And then there's like war looming and stuff. China's getting more and more frisky. Russia's already in full frisk mode.
Yeah.
Like it's getting all the things I've been kind of like saying for the last, I don't know, year or two.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're kind of like slowly panning out, right? So this is what we mean by Bitcoin is in like this unprecedented time and nobody really knows.
Yeah. So what does it mean to be in unprecedented time specifically? So I think in the grand context of Bitcoin, I feel like if what you're saying is right, we have like this deep recession, a recession unlike anything else specifically. And of course we have wars, we have like this black swan event that we're still recovering from. And in my opinion, I think Bitcoin is so independent that if your scenario ends out like correct, I only think Bitcoin is going to be hanging out in the lower bands of where it should be.
The lower bands.
Yeah. So like, for example, like if we go in to look at a Willy Woo charts.
Okay.
And so this is a chart by Willy Woo. I forget who this guy is like in the grand scheme of things, but he has like these huge charts that have been.
Yeah, he's one of these expert predictors we were talking about, right? Everybody relied on him for guidance and wisdom. He was basically Cleo.
Yeah.
The crypto Cleo, right? Okay.
And so, of course, we all predicted it would hit, 100K plus, right? Here's the green line.
Just because, based on history, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we have like this deep recession, I just feel like Bitcoin is just going to hang out in the lower bands of like where it's supposed to be, but still be on the way up regardless.
Yeah. Yeah, what I was talking to you earlier before we started recording is like I think it's perfectly acceptable for all these dudes who concocted these models for all of them to be wrong at some point. I think it's fine if every single model people have come up with they break, right? It doesn't mean like that's the end of Bitcoin. It's just we get to see like the true
resilience.
nature, or you can call it resilience. Yeah, it's still like, maybe who knows how the depths of like this financial phase of the global economy.
Yeah.
How bad it gets. People are predicting like the worst.
Yeah.
Right. Just because it's been like on a runaway escape mode for so long. But if it's really as bad as people say it's going to be, then if Bitcoin can survive it and still, maintain its position as some sort of like monetary hedge, like it doesn't have to be like, I don't know,
the
like
savior.
such a speculative thing anymore. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
because if you go back into gold's history, gold is a multi-thousand-year-old asset, right? And it's had some incredible volatile points in its history. It's had like total depression phases where nobody was like really giving a shit about the value of it. Like,
Right.
it's just, who knows? This could be Bitcoin's first real test. We get to see the actual organic nature of the value of Bitcoin,
Yeah, and one thing to note is that even though like there's this feeling of despair and panic and basically all the feelings that we see here in this chart, right? Denial, panic, anger, capitulation, depression.
Yeah.
These are the times where you're supposed to make your investments.
Yeah, accumulating essentially, right?
Now, I don't think, I mean, if this is like the actual bear cycle, which I think this is the beginning of it, I don't think we're in the bottoms yet. But these charts here say otherwise, right? We're like near the bottom. Like, for example, when COVID hit, it hit below this realized price of Bitcoin and then recovered drastically, right? So we've hit that number, right? 23,000 and change.
Yeah, we're there.
So it could go lower, but this is around the range where we're supposed to be accumulating. I mean, that's what happened with the COVID price hit, and then you know we saw this run up. Yeah. So now, let's assume that we're here, like in this part of like the current range today. If there's a recession, I think we just hang out down in the lower ranges. But I mean, that's pure prediction.
For how long, dude?
That's a good question. I think we were having those same questions when we started the podcast, and we're like, what's gonna spark this new rally? And so we had DeFi.
Yeah. Now that we're so like intertwined with the industry, like I can already foresee a lot of like next potentials as far as like emerging things in the crypto space that could galvanize the next wave. But as we know, Bitcoin is like the mover of the market. Like everybody's gonna wait around in this bear cycle for Bitcoin to like resurge. Just kind of like the nature, right? Even if there's like cool and exciting things happening in like the metaverse or GameFi or NFTs, DeFi, all this stuff, like the market won't move a smidget until Bitcoin, finds its purpose again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's gonna largely depend, I guess, on what happens on the macro side. You know, do we figure out a way how to like stop the bleed and fix inflation? Yeah. I don't know. This is beyond me.
Maybe,
you know what I mean?
You're right. But I mean, inflation, I mean, that's so hyper specific to the United States. And so, I mean, there's a lot, there's more world out there, So I think it's going to be a combination of that and just going through these phases because, I mean, we've been here, a number of times. If you're a veteran, this is your third bear cycle.
Yeah.
And think about what I just said, a veteran, third bear cycle in these 4-year cycles. So this is still the beginning, right?
Yeah. Ultimately, it's still like the only thing to really just take note of again is like if you go back to these, we went into this cycle with these preconceived expectations based on the historical patterns of Bitcoin, right? So we got even to the point because Bitcoin like regalvanized and like we entered a bullish phase, like it's such a predictable time. Yeah. We're like, dude, Bitcoin's easy, dude. It's we used to say that shit.
Yeah, let's just follow the pattern.
The rhythm. It's like, dude, it's like a heartbeat. It's so easy to predict. Yeah. And then I think that's what happened, dude. Yeah. It just had to fuck us, just to like, just knock our egos down a bit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, like because I mean, after the first two,
it's like it has to do it again, right?
Yeah, like I don't think people were really looking at the first two like phases of Bitcoin cycle and like predicting like this rhythmic nature to it. It wasn't until the third one executed. Yeah. Or like, okay, the halvening is a clear like initiator. Yeah. And like the market like responds and behaves like a orchestrated cadence. You know what I mean? Yep. So the fourth one came around and it just blew our expectations totally off. Yeah.
Yeah.
which is understandable for, again, the key things to notice is we're in unprecedented economic times. So that's that. And like the amount of liquidity needed for it to have this like blow off top, like exponential growth curve.
Yes,
is massive.
Multiple trillions.
Yeah, like imagine the exchanges trying to handle that, dude.
Yeah.
Like
they can't handle it right now, and people are just trying to move their money.
That's a good point, dude. We should have brought up some tweets. Like maybe we still can. Like
some Celsius tweets.
Celsius. I think we made some videos before on Celsius, but apparently like they're in full nuclear meltdown mode. And Binance, from what I heard, I'm not sure if this is like official news or not, but I think they're closing withdrawals as well. So we saw a lot of this in the last cycle too. Coinbase, I think, went through this. They like shut down pretty much the circuit breakers. This is like the crypto version of a circuit breaker. It's just the exchanges just like putting the brakes on the sell-off action. So this is going to be for sure more catalyst for like regulation to come in. This is
and you said Binance too, right?
I saw it like through the grapevine.
Oh, Coinbase
not confirmed.
Coinbase urges unhappy workers to quit. Slams dumb petition. Wow.
And then Michael Saylor, in Bitcoin we trust, dude. They're spoken like a true bag holder, dude.
Yeah. Hey, but you know what? I mean, they're right. I mean, Michael Saylor's right. I mean, Elon's right.
He's right. He's right. It's just the timing. I mean, come on. I know what you're doing, brah. It's like, and also they're influencers, right? Like they have to make these kind of statements too. And it's fine. They're pledging allegiance to Bitcoin.
I mean, you know,
at its darkest moments.
It's like so let's take Michael Saylor's tweet. In Bitcoin we trust.
Yeah.
At what point at what price does Bitcoin need to be like this guy has been right and has always been right? Like, do we need to see $1 million Bitcoin before like he's gonna?
No, we just need to get back into the next cycle, essentially, like a recovery, back to all-time highs. Like, all right, dude, Michael Saylor, you've been right all along. You know,
I guess what I'm trying to distinguish between like this kind of tweet and like Hopium is that he's talking about like the fundamentals of Bitcoin. Like that's what he's trusting. Right? I mean,
spoken like a true Bitcoin
like
enthusiast.
Kool-Aid drinker.
You extracted all of that from like 2 words. It's like we trust, and like you created a whole narrative out of that. That's actually amazing, dude. I mean, I think you're right.
I think that's what he's tweeting here. I mean, it's not the price of Bitcoin we trust. It's Bitcoin we trust.
What you're saying it's the I guess the fundamental application of it. Yeah. Because that's ultimately what people believe, right?
Yeah, and so going back to Celsius, so this is a good reason why you if you're not going to be trading any cryptocurrency, you got to put it in your hardware wallet and take it off these exchanges because now you can't move your money.
That's exactly right.
So
and these are old lessons. But like a lot of you guys, this is probably some of y'all might be new,
right?
Yeah, this is definitely old advice, old head advice. I remember this is like some of the first stuff I learned whenever I entered the crypto markets is like, make sure you get these hardware wallets, take them off the exchanges. You don't want to get stuck in a sticky situation like this.
Yeah, you mentioned circuit breakers, and so this is like the crypto version of a circuit breaker. But what the stock market doesn't have is the ability to offload your own assets onto a hardware wallet. And so in that case, they could circuit break all day, but you could still trade your cryptocurrency on these like open, decentralized exchanges like Uniswap, for example.
Yeah.
So there's lessons here to be learned.
Yeah, I guess to wrap it up. So like, what are the main takeaways, dude? I mean,
well, the main takeaways is definitely everyone's feeling the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And this is part of like being in this industry is like it's extremely volatile. If you look at CoinGecko and you go to the very top and you kind of zoom in here, it says the global cryptocurrency market cap today is 1 trillion.
Yep. I remember when we first broke 1 trillion, it was like how euphoric that felt. Like, damn, dude, we're actually doing some damage.
Dude, we're at $20,000 Bitcoin again.
It was something like that,
Yeah.
So it was like, it definitely felt like,
it's like we're going somewhere. Like this is a legit.
So as euphoric as that moment felt, I was like, this is becoming a legitimate industry, right? It's like, dude, one day we're gonna be up there with equities and precious metals and real estate and all this shit. One day, right? But now the opposite's happening, and like, dude, we're all gonna die.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and this is called human emotion, dude.
Do you happen to remember the size of the equities market? Like, how many trillions is that?
I do not.
Okay.
I mean, I know precious metals is like around 8 to 10 trillion, somewhere around there. So
okay, so then it's much bigger than that.
Probably.
Okay, so right in the grand context of things, Bitcoin itself is being compared to Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin is being compared to gold.
Yep. I mean, we almost got there near the top, right? It was like 3 trillion. We broke 3 trillion.
Something. It was close to that
as a market. Okay.
Well, yeah. Let's take a look here. So let me go home.
Oh, you can go back in time. I forget.
Bitcoin. Let's go to market cap, and let's do max. And it peaked at 1.25 trillion.
Not bad, Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's 10% of the value of gold. And
I think more than that. I think.
No, that's
gold's 10 trillion.
10 trillion. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're probably right. That's not bad.
It's not bad. But I mean, if Bitcoin's the digital version of gold, I mean,
yeah, and I
got a long way to go.
I think we're at that. What's the word? Critical mass phase. Like for sure, I think Bitcoin has achieved critical mass, and like enough people from the upcoming generation believe in such, and I think they will become lifelong participants in that value system. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure if Bitcoin's going to like maintain this rhythmic nature to it, like that we were expecting it to, like leading up until this specific cycle.
Yeah, I think
we might have, again, like external forces that are just beyond Bitcoin's ability to like overcome, right? And so we just have to be.
Yeah, ultimately,
accept that, right?
Humans are buying Bitcoin. Humans are susceptible to these sentiments. Forces.
Yeah, and like shit happens in the world. I mean, potentially shit that none of us have experienced in our lifetime could be on the horizon. We don't know.
Yeah.
And why do I say that? Because it's happened before frequently in humanity's past, right? So.
But there's also a lot of things going for Bitcoin. Like we have like this huge inflation. Fiat is near its life cycle, right? The dollar's dominance. Typically in history, the dominance of any currency has lasted about 100 years. The dollar has been running for about 100 years. So there's a lot of bullish activities going towards Bitcoin specifically.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. But almost, there's a period in between that and then
like you just pure despair.
There's a period of like in between. You're totally just like removing from that narrative.
That's
you know
true.
What I mean?
Hey,
and we don't know what that looks like, and that's what I fear the most is like that period, that in between transition phase, right? And
yeah, that's when you need chickens and like
exactly.
Like vegetables and
that's when this podcast transitions into like a freaking apocalypse one, like a self-sustain, how to like generate power from like potatoes podcast. You know what I mean?
But we're here now, and we're definitely feeling the pain like everybody else.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is we're gonna stick around.
Yep.
So make sure you tune in, follow us on Twitter at the Block Runner and at MetaZone.io and Rovi AI and all these things that we got going on. We do a live calls on Monday nights, which is in a couple of hours from now.
Yep.
And then we do another live call Thursdays at 10 p.m. UTC. So
yeah, we're definitely not going to have any shortage of things to do. That's for sure.
Yeah.
During this bearish phase. Yeah, we'll be here, lads.
So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you in the next video.
Peace.